The chamber of the Galactic Council pulsated with an air of tension, its vast walls adorned with holographic projections of distant stars and swirling galaxies. Ilara Voss stood at the center, a solitary figure against the backdrop of alien dignitaries, each species represented by forms both strange and beautiful. In the silence that enveloped the room, the whispers of skepticism slithered through the air like a chilling breeze. "Humans are unpredictable," boomed Senator Thrax, his voice resonating with authority. His angular face, framed by deep-set eyes that glimmered like obsidian, reflected the age-old prejudices against her kind. "Their history is littered with violence. They should be quarantined." Ilara felt the weight of his words pressing down on her, the bitterness of past failures crashing over her like waves against a cliff. She clenched her fists at her sides, willing herself to remain composed. This was not merely about her people, it was about the future of interstellar cooperation and understanding. "Senator Thrax," she began, her voice steady but her heart pounding like a drum, "I understand your concerns. But to judge humanity solely by its past is to deny the potential for growth and change. We can be allies, not threats." A murmur spread through the council as Ilara met the gazes of the senators, a kaleidoscope of colors and features. The twinkling eyes of the Kren, a race of slender beings with translucent skin, flickered with curiosity. In contrast, the Stalax, brutish and muscular, exchanged glances filled with disdain. The council chamber was a tapestry of alien cultures, yet the undercurrent of fear united them all. "Your kind has a tendency to escalate conflicts," another senator interjected, her voice smooth yet laced with mistrust. "How do we know you won't repeat the mistakes of your past?" Ilara swallowed hard, her mind racing for the right words. "We have faced our demons and emerged stronger. Just look at our recent efforts for peace. We reached out to the Targans, brokered a truce with the Rakari. Humanity has shown we can be a force for good." Thrax's expression hardened, and he waved a dismissive hand. "Peace forged from desperation is no peace at all. It is folly to trust a species that has a history of war." A fire ignited within Ilara, stoked by years of prejudice and misunderstanding. "Then let us show you. We face a common enemy, the Crothians. They threaten us all, and we cannot afford division at this time. We need unity, not fear." As her words echoed through the chamber, a moment of silence fell, charged with possibility. Ilara could feel the weight of history hanging in the balance. The council was poised at a crossroads, and she was determined to be the catalyst for change, but as she stood, heart racing, the council began to deliberate, and Ilara knew that every moment counted. Would they heed her call, or would humanity be cast aside, left to face the darkness alone? The fate of her people, and perhaps the galaxy, depended on this very moment. Ilara Voss paced the bridge of the Aegis, her mind swirling like the stars outside the viewport. The hum of the ship's engines was a constant reminder of her place among the cosmos, yet today it felt more like a prison than a vessel of hope. The council's verdict echoed in her ears, a resounding rejection. She clenched her fists, frustration boiling just beneath the surface. "Captain, we've received the latest intel on the Crothian fleet," called Zara, the ship's tactical officer, breaking through Ilara's reverie. Her blue skin shimmered in the dim light, and her wide eyes reflected both concern and determination. "They're mobilizing faster than we anticipated. If we don't act soon, we could be caught unprepared." Ilara turned to face her crew, a mix of humans and empathetic aliens who had pledged their loyalty to her cause. They were more than just a team, they were her family in this vast, uncaring universe. "We can't rely on the council to save us," she said, her voice steady, fueled by a newfound resolve. "We have to take the fight to the Crothians ourselves." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crew, but Ilara noticed the unease on their faces. They were aware of the odds stacked against them. "What about our allies?" One of the engineers, a rugged human named Leo, interjected, concern etched on his brow. "If the council won't stand with us, who will?" Ilara stepped forward, looking each of them in the eye. We can't let fear dictate our actions. We have the power to prove ourselves. If we show them our strength and courage, they will have no choice but to listen. We're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting for a future where humans and aliens can coexist. Zara nodded, her expression resolute. I'm with you, Captain. We all are. But we need a solid plan. Then let's devise one, Elara declared, her heart swelling with pride at her crew's spirit. They gathered around the central console, their camaraderie igniting a spark of creativity. As they brainstormed strategies, ideas flowed freely, each member contributing their unique insights. Elara felt the energy shift in the room. Desperation was morphing into determination. Hours passed, but time felt suspended as they mapped out their assault. Elara's mind raced with possibilities, her vision of unity crystallizing with each passing moment. They discussed ambush tactics and diversionary maneuvers, crafting a plan that could potentially shift the tide of battle. Let's hit them at their supply lines, Leo suggested, excitement sparking in his voice. If we can disrupt their resources, we'll weaken their forces before they even reach us. Elara felt a thrill at the prospect of action, but a shadow of doubt lingered. Would their efforts be enough? Just then, the ship's alarm blared, shattering the atmosphere of hope. A flickering red light warned of an incoming transmission, and the crew fell silent. Elara's heart raced as she stepped forward to accept the call, her breath catching in her throat. The screen flickered to life, revealing a familiar face, Commander Kellen, a stalwart ally from the Targon fleet. Captain Voss, he said, urgency coloring his voice. We've been monitoring Crothian movements. We're coming to assist you. We've received reports about your courage, and we want to join the fight. Elara's heart soared at the news. A spark of hope igniting within her. The universe was vast, but in this moment, she felt less alone. Thank you, Commander. Together, we will show the galaxy what humanity, and our allies, can accomplish. As the crew erupted in cheers, Elara smiled, realizing that in their darkest hour, unity had emerged from despair. They would stand together, fighting not just for survival, but for a future where trust and cooperation reigned. The Aegis soared through the darkness of space, its sleek hull glinting like a silver arrow against the backdrop of twinkling stars. Elara stood at the helm, the vastness of the galaxy stretching before her. Yet, the tranquility of the cosmos belied the storm brewing within. The Crothian fleet was on the move, and time was not on their side. Status report, Elara commanded, her voice firm but edged with tension. Commander Kellen's fleet will rendezvous with us in 20 minutes, Zara replied, her fingers flying over the console, eyes flickering between readouts. We'll have reinforcements soon. But the Crothians are closing in. Scans indicate they'll be within striking distance in less than an hour. A weight settled in the pit of Elara's stomach as she absorbed the information. The stakes were higher than ever. Failure could mean not just defeat for her crew, but potential annihilation for countless innocents across the galaxy. Prepare the ship for battle, she ordered, her voice steady. And get me a visual on the Crothian fleet. The main screen lit up, revealing a vast array of dark, menacing ships, each one bristling with weaponry. Their design was sleek and intimidating, a testament to their relentless pursuit of power. Elara's jaw tightened at the sight, fury mingling with fear. The Crothians were no ordinary foe, they were known for their ruthlessness, their insatiable thirst for conquest. Captain, I suggest we initiate a stealth approach, Zara advised. Her brow furrowing in concentration. If we can get close enough without detection, we can disrupt their supply lines as planned. It'll give us the element of surprise. Elara nodded, heart racing. Right. We'll engage cloaking protocols. We need to make our move before they have a chance to regroup. As the crew sprang into action, Elara felt the familiar surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for. She could sense the camaraderie amongst her team, a silent understanding binding them together. They were all in this together, fighting for more than just survival. Commander Kellen has just entered the sector, Zara announced. Her voice laced with excitement. He's initiated cloaking as well. We're not alone in this fight. A flicker of hope ignited within Elara. Good. Let's synchronize our movements. I want us to hit their supply ships and create chaos. We can't afford to be overwhelmed. Coordinates set, Zara confirmed. Initiating stealth protocols now. As the Aegis slipped into the shadows of space, Elara's heart pounded with anticipation. They drifted through the void, the hum of the engines melding with the silence of the universe, creating an eerie atmosphere. The tension was palpable, each passing moment brought them closer to the inevitable clash. Suddenly, a blaring alarm shattered the silence, flooding the bridge with red light. We've been detected. Zara shouted, panic flaring in her voice. The Crothians have picked up our energy signatures. Full speed ahead. Elara commanded, adrenaline surging through her body. Divert power to shields and weapons. We can't let them break our formation. As the ship trembled under the strain, Elara's mind raced. They had come too far to turn back now. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her as she braced herself for the battle ahead. In this moment of uncertainty, she found clarity. She would fight for her crew. For humanity, and for the hope of a united galaxy. As the Aegis plunged into the fray, she knew that they were on the precipice of something monumental. The gathering storm was here, and it was time to unleash their fury against the darkness. The void of space erupted into chaos as the Aegis and Commander Kellen's fleet surged toward the Crothian armada, their cloaking fields flickering like dying stars. Elara Voss gripped the command console, her heart pounding in rhythm with the thrumming of the ship's engines. Ahead, the Crothian fleet was a wall of darkness, a testament to their formidable strength. Enemy ships are deploying defensive formations. Zara shouted, her fingers flying across the controls. The holographic display glowed ominously, a swirling mass of red dots, each one representing a Crothian vessel ready to unleash destruction. Divert all power to forward shields. Elara ordered, her voice cutting through the din of alarms and alerts. We need to break through their line before they can regroup. With a violent shudder, the Aegis surged forward, cutting through the darkness. The stars streaked past in a blur as the ship accelerated, the familiar hum of the engines transforming into a roar of raw power. The tension was palpable, each passing moment brought them closer to the inevitable clash. Suddenly, a blaring alarm shattered the silence, flooding the bridge with red light. We've been detected. Zara shouted, panic flaring in her voice. The Crothians have picked up our energy signatures. Full speed ahead. Elara commanded, adrenaline surging through her body. Divert power to shields and weapons. We can't let them break our formation. As the ship trembled under the strain, Elara's mind raced. They had come too far to turn back now. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her as she braced herself for the battle ahead. In this moment of uncertainty, she found clarity. She would fight for her crew. For humanity, and for the hope of a united galaxy. As the Aegis plunged into the fray, she knew that they were on the precipice of something monumental. The gathering storm was here, and it was time to unleash their fury against the darkness. The void of space erupted into chaos as the Aegis and Commander Kellen's fleet surged toward the Crothian armada, their cloaking fields flickering like dying stars. Elara Voss gripped the command console, her heart pounding in rhythm with the thrumming of the ship's engines. Ahead, the Crothian fleet was a wall of darkness, a testament to their formidable strength. Enemy ships are deploying defensive formations. Zara shouted, her fingers flying across the controls. The holographic display glowed ominously, a swirling mass of red dots, each one representing a Crothian vessel ready to unleash destruction. Divert all power to forward shields. Elara ordered, her voice cutting through the din of alarms and alerts. We need to break through their line before they can regroup. With a violent shudder, the Aegis surged forward, cutting through the darkness. The stars streaked past in a blur as the ship accelerated, the familiar hum of the engines transforming into a roar of raw power. Ilara's senses sharpened, every instinct honed for the battle that lay ahead. Launch fighters. Kellen's voice crackled over the comms. Let's draw their fire and create a path for the Aegis. We'll split their formation. With a swift motion, Zara activated the launch sequence. The hangar doors opened, and a squadron of sleek starfighters erupted into the void, darting toward the enemy like a swarm of furious hornets. Ilara watched as the fighters engaged, bright beams of energy cutting through the darkness, illuminating the deadly ballet of war. Captain, the Crothians are retaliating. One of the crew called out, pointing to the readout as a barrage of plasma bolts hurtled toward them. The ship shuddered as impacts rocked the hull, alarms blaring incessantly. Brace for impact. Ilara shouted, her grip tightening around the console. The Aegis groaned under the strain, but she held her ground, determination coursing through her veins. We're losing shields fast. Zara exclaimed, her voice tinged with urgency. We need to reposition. Ilara's mind raced as she scanned the chaotic battlefield. In that moment, she spotted an opening, a gap in the Crothian formation, a chance to strike. There. She pointed. If we slip through there, we can reach their supply ships. Zara nodded, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. Engaging evasive maneuvers now. The ship responded to her commands. Veering sharply as Ilara steered them toward the opening. The Aegis dodged blasts of energy, the crew shouting encouragement, their spirits entwined with the vessel's heart. With each twist and turn, Ilara felt the thrill of the chase, a visceral connection to the ship and her crew, a bond forged in the crucible of battle. Suddenly, they burst through the gap, emerging into the relative calm behind enemy lines. The supply ships floated like unsuspecting prey, unaware of the danger that lurked behind them. Now. Ilara commanded, adrenaline surging. Lock weapons on the nearest supply ship and fire. Energy bolts erupted from the Aegis, striking true as explosions rippled through the supply lines. The Crothian fleet, caught off guard, staggered under the sudden assault. Ilara's heart raced as chaos erupted in the enemy ranks, ships colliding and spiraling into the void. We've done it. We've breached their defenses. Zara shouted, a triumphant grin spreading across her face, but Ilara knew the battle was far from over. The Crothians would retaliate, and their fury would be swift. As she watched the turmoil unfold, she realized that this was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for their future. Prepare for more incoming fire. She shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos. We must hold our ground and keep the pressure on. With renewed vigor, the Aegis surged forward, the crew rallying behind their captain. They were a force to be reckoned with, a testament to humanity's resilience. As the darkness of space enveloped them, Ilara Voss knew that they were no longer alone in their struggle. They had forged a path to victory, one that would echo through the stars. The battlefield was a tapestry of chaos, woven with threads of bright explosions and shadowy vessels. Ilara Voss stood resolute at the command console of the Aegis, her heart pounding in rhythm with the ship's engines. The air crackled with tension as they pressed deeper into the Crothian lines, a fierce determination igniting the crew's spirits. Captain, we've destroyed 3 supply ships. Zara called, her voice filled with exhilaration. But they're regrouping. It won't be long before they retaliate in force. Ilara nodded, her gaze locked on the swirling chaos displayed on the main screen. The Crothian ships were starting to reorganize, their formations tightening like a noose around the Aegis. A wave of urgency washed over her, they had to act quickly. Signal Commander Kellen, she instructed. Tell him to divert his fighters toward their flanks. We need to create a wider opening for our escape. On it. Zara replied, fingers dancing over the controls. As she relayed the order, Ilara felt the weight of leadership pressing down on her. Every decision could be the difference between survival and obliteration. Fighters engaging. Came a voice from the comms. The roar of engines echoed through the ship as Kellen's squadron tore through the battlefield, drawing fire away from the Aegis. Their sacrifices would not go unnoticed, but even as the fighters swarmed like a cloud of angry bees, Ilara's heart raced with the knowledge that they were running out of time. The Crothians were relentless, their ships were advancing, and soon they would be trapped. Prepare to jump to hyperspace, she ordered, her voice steady despite the turmoil around her. We need to recalibrate the NAV system. Get us to the nearest safe zone. Just as Zara began inputting the coordinates, a deafening alarm shattered the tension. Captain. Multiple incoming missiles detected. Evasive maneuvers. Ilara shouted, adrenaline surging through her. The Aegis jolted as it responded to her command, spiraling to avoid the oncoming projectiles. The ship rocked violently as a missile grazed the hull, sending a jolt of electricity through the command deck. Shields are holding. But they're weakening. Zara reported, panic creeping into her voice. Divert auxiliary power to the forward shields. Ilara commanded, her mind racing. We need to buy ourselves some time. As the crew scrambled to follow her orders, Ilara's thoughts turned to the fighters. They were fighting valiantly, but the tide was turning against them. Commander Kellen's voice crackled over the comms, strained but defiant. Ilara. We're holding the line, but we can't last much longer. You need to get out of here. No. She shouted, her heart aching at the thought of abandoning them. We can't leave you behind. We're in this together. An order, Captain. Kellen's tone brooked no argument. You have to. The transmission cut off abruptly, replaced by static. Ilara's breath caught in her throat, a cold dread settling in her gut. The realization struck her like a lightning bolt. They were losing him, Zara. Ilara snapped, fighting back her rising panic. Get me a visual on Kellen's fighters. The screen flickered, revealing the chaotic scene beyond the Aegis. Kellen's squadron was under siege, flanked by a squad of Crothian vessels, their weapons firing relentlessly. One by one, the fighters were being picked off. Their brave efforts turning to desperation. Damn it. Ilara cursed, her resolve hardening. We can't leave them behind. Not like this. Captain, if we go back, we risk losing the Aegis. Zara pleaded, her voice trembling with concern. They've fought for us, Ilara said, her voice steady as steel. Now it's our turn to fight for them. With a fierce determination igniting within her, she adjusted the Aegis trajectory, steering the ship toward the fighters. Weapons online. Prepare for a counterattack. As the ship's cannons roared to life, Ilara felt a sense of purpose envelop her. This was not just a battle, it was a testament to their resolve, a declaration that they would not be crushed by fear or defeat. The heart of darkness was upon them, but they would rise to meet it with fury and courage. Engage. Ilara commanded, and the Aegis surged forward, ready to unleash hell upon the Crothians. They would fight together, or they would fall together, but they would do it as one. The Aegis cut through the darkness, its cannons blazing as Ilara Voss steered the ship into the thick of the fray. The vivid bursts of energy illuminated the chaos around her, friend and foe alike engulfed in the ruthless dance of war. Each explosion echoed in her chest, a relentless reminder of the stakes they faced. Direct hit on the left flank. Zara shouted, her voice strained as the ship jolted violently. Shields are down to 20%. Reinforce the rear shields. Ilara barked, sweat beading on her brow. The crew scrambled, but there was no time to lose. Kellen's fighters were fighting valiantly, but they were being overwhelmed by the Crothians' relentless onslaught. On the main screen, Ilara saw the grim tableau unfold. Kellen's squadron was surrounded, the brave pilots exchanging fire as their numbers dwindled. A chilling realization settled in her gut. Time was running out. Prepare to cover their retreat. She ordered. Steeling herself. We'll draw their fire. Are you crazy? Zara exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief. We can't take on that many ships alone. We don't have a choice. Elara shot back, her voice unwavering. If we don't give them a chance to escape, it'll all be for nothing. She felt the weight of her crew's trust pressing down on her. In that moment, they were more than a crew, they were a family, bound together by their shared struggles and sacrifices. As the Aegis rolled, dodging a barrage of incoming fire, Elara focused on Kellen's fighters, the glimmers of hope they represented. Zara, get a comm link with Kellen. Tell him to break formation and head for the Aegis. We'll cover him. On it. Zara's fingers flew across the controls as she sent the message. Come on, Kellen, Elara whispered to herself, her heart racing. You can do this. The tension was palpable as the battle raged around them. Elara maneuvered the Aegis, positioning it between Kellen's squadron and the advancing Crothian ships. With every shot fired, the ship vibrated, the crew gritting their teeth against the strain. The Aegis was taking damage, but it would take more than that to break them, Captain. Zara shouted, eyes wide with alarm. The Crothians are targeting us. Hold steady. Elara replied, her voice fierce. We're not backing down. The first volley of missiles struck, slamming into the Aegis with bone-jarring force. Alarms blared, warning lights flashing like a heartbeat in crisis. The ship groaned, shuddering under the impact, but Elara gritted her teeth, refusing to yield, firing countermeasures. Zara announced, a hint of determination in her tone. The Aegis unleashed its defenses, flares bursting forth like fireworks, creating a dazzling distraction in the chaos. Elara seized the moment, her fingers dancing across the controls. Now, Kellen. Get your fighters to safety. She commanded over the comms, on our way. Kellen's voice rang with urgency. But a sudden explosion cut him off, sending a shockwave through the Aegis. No. Elara gasped, her heart sinking. Kellen. Focus, Captain. Zara urged, her eyes wide with determination. We need to keep moving. With a fierce resolve, Elara rallied her crew. We're not leaving without him. Prepare for a boarding action. The Aegis surged forward, the crew's spirits igniting like a spark in the darkness. They would fight tooth and nail for their comrade, their defiance echoing across the void. Elara's heart raced as they engaged the Crothian ships in a furious dance of fire and maneuver. With each blast that illuminated the darkness, she could feel the tide of battle shifting. The pulse of fate thrumming in the air. Keep pushing forward. Elara shouted, determination driving her every command. For Kellen. For humanity. As the last of the fighters broke through the lines, Elara felt a surge of hope. They would not go quietly into the night. They would rise, they would fight, and they would show the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The heart of darkness had met its match, and together, they would blaze a path into the light.